What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the stimulus package update, daily news, pretty much everything going on here in our country and in Washington, D.C., money, investing, the stock market. Remember that new videos come on here on our channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will keep you up to date with everything. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new updates. And if you find these videos helpful, don't forget to hit the like button for us down below. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki has tested positive for COVID-19. So they have just announced that she has tested positive for the virus and that she has not been in contact with the president. So we wish her well. Here is her statement. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki has tested positive for the virus on Sunday, becoming the highest-ranking White House official to publicly disclose that they have contracted the virus. She says, quote, "While I have not had close contact in person with the president or senior members of the White House staff since Wednesday and tested negative for 4 days after the last contact, I am disclosing today positive test out of an abundance of transparency," she said in a statement. "I last saw the president on Tuesday when we sat outside more than 6 feet apart and we wore masks." Jen Psaki opted not to travel with President Biden and other staff members to Europe on Thursday after a member of her household tested positive for the virus, she said in a statement. Jen Psaki said she is vaccinated and has mild symptoms. She will return to work after a 10-day quarantine and following a negative test. The press secretary typically interacts regularly with the president, making her positive test particularly notable. Biden received his booster shot earlier this month, but at age 78, he is still considered in a high-risk category should he contract the virus. Next up, here is an interesting interview between two different Republican and Democrat representatives kind of sparring over their differences in ideology over the stimulus package. Check this out.
I think there are two reasons that the poll numbers have been down, because everyone knows some of them that have been down. One is the headlines have shown that, there's bickering and we haven't been able to get things done. People don't like gridlock. And two, it's been a tough year. I mean, there's no doubt with Delta variant and with people not getting the supplies that they want, it's a tough year. And my view is these bills will address that and will help put the country on the right track.
Congressman Comer, one of the things that's in these bills, which is pretty interesting, we're talking about it on Friday, is effectively the subsidy to the auto industry, but specifically to automakers that are unionized on a relative basis to those that are ununionized. This will impact actually some of the vehicle makers in your state, also impacts the likes of Tesla. Do you think that's fair?
No, I don't think it's fair. And I think that this goes along with a pattern of Democrats picking winners and losers in this legislation. You had a lot of employers on your show over the last 6 months, and they're all complaining about trying to find workers. So if the goal of the Democrats in Congress now is to pass a bill and spend trillions of dollars to try to create more jobs, there are over 10 million jobs available in our economy right now. We need to get people back into the workforce. And I just don't think that this is the right direction. It's not the right time to raise taxes. And when you're doing a bill the way that the Democrats are doing this bill, behind closed doors, there's no transparency. They're talking about expanding prescription drugs. And we know historically, anytime Congress has tried to do anything major to change the healthcare laws, there have always been unintended consequences that always fall back and have a negative impact on small business. So we just don't like anything about this bill. We don't think it's the right time to do it. And I don't think you're going to see any Republicans support this bill.
Right. Congressman Kano, what do you make of the auto piece? It specifically seems to be targeting Tesla. I think we should just be honest about it. I mean, to some degree, you could argue that it will impact Toyota, which is basically where Congressman Comer is, of course. But do you think that's a fair way to do it? And mind you, it appears to me at least that Tesla workers have actually made more money than the unionized workers in Detroit.
I think it's fair to have a broad incentive for electric vehicles and to prioritize union workers. And that's helping the working class. I don't think any company should be singled out. But let me just say to Representative Comer, we have a good relationship. We're on the same committee. This has been the most transparent process. I mean, every part of this bill has been litigated in the media. And the reality is that there's a philosophical difference. The Democrats actually believe that putting money in the pockets of the working class, huge tax cuts for the working class, child tax credit, earned income tax credit is good policy, and raise taxes of those making over 10 million. And the Trump tax cuts was give the tax cuts to the very wealthy. That'll fuel growth. It's just a difference in philosophy.
Well, I think the Republican philosophy with respect to the government is right now in this strong economy, the government needs to get out of the way. I mean, the government has, in fact, paid people not to work, which has created a labor shortage. The government is trying to enact more climate change policy at a time when energy prices are skyrocketing, when we need to be increasing production in America, not decreasing production in America. We want to be less dependent on foreign oil. We don't want Joe Biden in Europe now begging OPEC to increase production when we have the capacity to increase production here in the United States. So I agree with my friend Ro Khanna. There is a big ideological difference right now between the Republicans and Democrats, but the Republicans really think there's too much government. We need to get the government out of the way.
Congressman Comer, are you surprised that the stock market is effectively at record highs? If what you're saying is correct, and look, I'm never one to actually look at the stock market as an indicator of how great everything is, but I will tell you in prior administrations, there have been people pointing to the market as an indicator of that.
I think the market is a great indicator. What you're seeing is the government's printed so much money. You talk to any community banker, the banks are awash in cash right now. There's so much cash out there with the PPP loan program, which was in the previous administration, with the stimulus package that's already passed the Biden administration. Now they're talking about trillions more. There's so much money out there. People have to put it somewhere, so they're putting it in the stock market. The negative part of that is, yes, the stocks are going up, but also goods are going up because we're seeing inflation for the first time in 2 decades.
Congressman Khanna, final word to you, but I would ask you the same question in a different way, which is it surprising to you that the poll numbers are where they are, given that the stock market is where it is?
No, because working class Americans are hurting, and that has always been the problem. But the reality is, look, inflation is a monetary phenomenon. You can talk about the Fed and we can talk about quantitative easing. But the reality is, what can the federal government do? The federal government can invest in domestic manufacturing. We can get people back into the workforce, which is what this bill does by supplying, helping childcare. And we can help put more money in people's pockets so that they can deal with higher prices. This is going to be the largest tax cut for working families. And that's why I'm confident it will pass and help steer our economy in the right direction.
So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. The Republican versus the Democrat, different ideologies. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Which one do you agree with? Do you agree with a blend of them? I could definitely see a little bit of both. A little bit. I definitely can agree with a little bit of each. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. You notice that Democratic Representative Ro Khanna talked about putting money in people's pockets there at the end. There are several different programs that are going to or will or potentially will put money in people's pockets. And when we look at the stimulus package here, and again, it depends on what programs of this stimulus package will put money or could put money in your pocket. We talk about things like the child tax credits, those monthly payments going out to 65 million children. They want to extend that for 1 more year. That would be $250 per month for children over the age of 6 for 1 more year. And for children under the age of 6, 5 and under, would be $300 per month for 1 more year. They're also talking about child care, which would be a lot of families would get it for free, or you wouldn't have to pay for it at all. So if you're a low-income working family, you would get it for free, depending on income thresholds that we'll have to see what ends up being in the final bill. And then no family will pay more than 7%. Again, remember, nothing's set in stone until this stimulus package is passed. But right now, a lot of low and middle income families pay somewhere between 20 to 33% of their income, depending on how much money you make. So it's a lot of money. We had a representative on the show here yesterday that said in her state that the average amount that a family pays in her state was $21,000 a year for childcare. Wow. Yeah, so we had her on the show yesterday, and yeah, $21,000 a year. Imagine paying that for childcare. So say mom and dad go to work, they have to put their children in childcare, and they're paying $21,000 a year. So now, again, if that stimulus program applies to you in this package, you will now pay only 7% of your income. So there's going to be, and I don't know how it's going to work. I think it's going to be a tax subsidy where you're going to get a big tax refund or rebate once you file your taxes. We'll have to see how they implement the program, but you're now going to pay no more than 7% of your income. There's also going to be 2 years of universal pre-K, basically free kindergarten. So right now in the majority of states, especially in my states, most states, you have to pay for that. So it's thousands of dollars a year. They're now going to make that free, just like regular schooling is, where you go from grade 1 through grade 12. I mean, some states you have to pay an extra tax for it, but for the most part, you don't shell out money when you go to school. You go to grade 5, grade 6, grade 7. You don't pay money directly to go to school. So they want to make that preschool now the same way. Right now, for most states, when you go to preschool, you literally have to pay to go to preschool. So that family, and a lot of families can't afford to go to preschool, so the child chooses not to go to preschool. So they want to make preschool now basically like regular school, where it's included. It's just like regular school. You just go to regular school and it's included for free, basically, or included with the normal taxes that taxpayers pay. There's going to be between $150 to $200 billion for public housing, affordable housing, and $25 billion in there for rent assistance on top of the rent assistance that is already available right now. So there will be $25 billion more in rent assistance. So if you know how to apply for a rent assistance, there's going to be more of this available right now, where the government will literally give you money or give your landlord money to pay your rent for anywhere from 3 months to 12 months of rent. We have already had thousands of people on this channel get their rent paid for anywhere from 3 months, 6 months, 12 months of rent. So if your rent is $1,000 a month, just for a nice round number, I know your rent could be more or less, but you literally can get your rent paid for several months. So I have a video showing you how to do this. Might take you about an hour to apply. It's completely free to do so, but this is kind of like a stimulus check, but actually it can be a lot more. If you think about a $1,400 stimulus check, that could be 1 or 2 months of your rent. You can get a lot more of that with rent assistance. And rent assistance is available right now in all 50 states. And there's going to be $25 billion more of that available with this next stimulus package. So some of this stuff that they're doing is stuff you have to apply for, like rent assistance. And there's going to be $25 billion more in this next stimulus package. So we're hoping that they do besides the child tax credit, those monthly stimulus checks for children, they were originally passed in the third stimulus check package, and they want to do another year of that as well. We're hoping that they do a check for adults, but if they don't, there is still other programs like rent assistance, and there's going to be another $25 billion of rent assistance. We have already had thousands of people on this show, or viewers of the show, I should say, that have already gotten rent assistance, and some people have already gotten it twice. And if your rent assistance, if you get 3 months or 6 months, you couldn't get it again. If you've gotten it denied for it, you might want to apply again. Or if you haven't applied yet, you might want to apply, because this is a stimulus type of provision that you can get, and it's in most cases worth a lot more than, say, a $1,400 stimulus check. So I will link you to a video on showing you how to do that here in just a moment here at the end of that video. So yeah, that's a very big stimulus provision that was in the last stimulus package. Money is available for it right now, and there's going to be even more money for that in this next stimulus package. And there's also, they're looking to include an $800 stimulus debit card for Medicare recipients to pay for medical and dental procedures. So that is another something that could be included in here as well, for Medicare recipients to pay for medical and dental. So $800 is something that they are considering right now. We hope that makes it to the finish line as well, and that would be for if you're on Medicare. So there are several different things that they're kicking around. One of the other big things that they're looking to include right now is, you can see here, Senator Bernie Sanders working to get prescription drug pricing provisions in the social spending bill. It does look very hopeful right now that they are going to get some provisions in here to lower prescription drug pricing. This is something that will basically put money in your pocket, so to speak, if you pay for prescription drugs. Basically, it'll be a savings every single month if you pay for this, because most likely it will cover the prescriptions that you pay for, Again, it's not going to cover all of them, but there's probably a pretty good chance that it will cover the prescriptions you pay for unless you're on a brand new prescription that just came out. It probably won't cover that, but there's probably a pretty good chance it will cover that, and it probably will be lowered. So we'll have to see. Everybody's prescriptions will be different and how much you will save. I really can't even guess on everybody's situation will be different, but they are looking to work on this and have this added into the stimulus package. In fact, we've had very positive wording and kind of a reinforcement from several Democratic lawmakers here within the last 24 hours that it looks like it will be added into the stimulus package. So they say that about 66% of adults are on prescriptions. And so this would be a savings for over 150 million adults if this is added in here. It's a very big stimulus type item, savings program that Senator Bernie Sanders has really been trying to push for because he knows how big of an item it would be for tens of millions of adults to start saving on prescriptions every single month. And I've seen so many comments from you guys saying, yeah, Jimmy, I pay a lot of money. I pay, and I've seen some people say that they spend hundreds of dollars a month, or a lot of people say that they have prescriptions that they can't even get because they can't afford. Some people say they have to choose between food and prescriptions every single month. And I think that insulin would probably be one of these things that are negotiated down because insulin's been on the market for a while. So I would think that insulin and inhalers would be one of those things that would be negotiated down that would have savings on them. So yeah, I think that this would be a very, very good thing for millions of adults. And just to even have the ability for the government to negotiate the prices down on these would be a drastically really good thing for Americans to even have a system where we can negotiate prices with the pharmaceutical industry. Like, thank God that we can even do that, right? Like, let's hope that this gets in there. This has been a very big battle that's been going on for years, even with Republicans. I mean, even former President Donald Trump was trying to get this done. Republicans have been trying to, of course, Republicans don't want to vote for this now because the Democrats are trying to do this and it would count as a Democratic win. But Republicans have been trying to do this. Democrats have been trying to do this. And it really doesn't matter who gets the W. Let's just get this done for the people because all that really matters is that people get helped, right? So let's hope that this really gets done because this is a big thing. So the initial plan was to maybe vote on this as early as tomorrow, but I don't know if that's going to happen because they're pushing to add this prescription drug pricing in. They're also negotiating on several different things here. So honestly, think about it this way. If they're looking to add in more items, that's a good thing, right? So put it this way. Would you rather have them vote and not add in more things? Or would you rather have them add in more things? So I would rather have them add in more things. So we'll have to see what they do here. They are planning on voting this week. I will keep you up to date here. Literally, as I said, things are changing by the moment. They're adding in things at the last moment as well, which is a very good thing here. I will keep you up to date on everything that they're trying to do, everything they're trying to add in at the very last moment. Also, when they do start the voting process, they go through a thing called a vote-a-rama, where they go through like an amendment process. And they do this in the Senate as well. Remember, the House is going to vote first, and then the Senate is going to vote, where they go and they try to add in things on the floor. Okay, so please keep that in mind as well. So when they actually go through the voting process, they go through a process called the vote-a-rama, where they try to add in things literally on the floor at the last moment as well. So I will keep you up to date. And when they go to vote on the Senate, remember the last time around when the House voted, the House passed the bill, and then the Senate passed a different bill, and the Senate actually added in that $10,200 tax-free unemployment provision, where if you had unemployment income, it made the first $10,200 of unemployment income tax-free, retroactive for the year 2020. And that meant that a lot of people got anywhere from several $100s to several $1,000s of an extra check back from the IRS. Made the first $10,200 of unemployment income tax-free, kind of thanks to Joe Manchin. I mean, he negotiated some other things down. He negotiated that the third stimulus check threshold be reduced from $100,000 of income to $80,000. He didn't think that people making $100,000 single filers should get a stimulus check, and he reduced it to $80,000. Some people think that's rightfully so. But on the other hand, they added in the $10,200 unemployment tax-free provision on the floor, on the Senate floor, after the House passed the bill. So they kind of add things in literally at the last minute. This was after the bill was written, after the House already passed the bill. So even after the House passes the bill, after the bill's written, the Senate can even add things in at the last moment. So when we talk about last moment, that shows you how last moment things can be added. That's after the House passed the bill in the last time around. So I'll keep you up to date here. So remember, things can literally be added in at the last moment. Even with Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin was actually responsible for that stimulus item. And if you had unemployment income from 2020, you can kind of thank Joe Manchin for that, ironically, as that sounds. He was kind of to thank for that because he was part of that negotiation. He wanted to lower the income threshold for the third stimulus check. He didn't think people making $100,000 should get that check. But as part of that negotiation, they added in that provision for unemployed people, thinking they didn't want to have people that were unemployed get hit with that extra tax bill that they might not have been aware of. So they kind of added that in to help those people out. So as crazy as it sounds, you could maybe thank Joe Manchin for that. So I know everybody says Joe Manchin will never go for this and go for that, but ironically, they added that in with Joe Manchin. So I'll keep you up to date here. There's going to be a lot of things going on here in the next few days. Don't miss any new videos here at this point. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet. It's completely free to do so. Literally just click subscribe. And remember, the new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll keep you up to date with the stimulus package and everything else going on here in our country. You can click here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video is how to apply for rent assistance. If you haven't applied for that and you're low income, if you've been on unemployment, if you're behind on rent, or any of those type of things, you want to click on this video and go and apply. It'll take you maybe an hour to do so. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.